Hey everyone, Aaron here, and welcome back to another surprise attack. Today's surprise attack is of Maid-sama. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I'm going to give you kind of a warning. If you do not like rants, if you do not want to hear a rant, if you do not care about this anime, then stay away from it right now. I'll tell you right now that this is going to be me ranting for about maybe a good solid 7 minutes. It's unavoidable with this anime because what's the word I'm looking for? I utterly hate this show. This was the hardest thing for me to watch in my lifetime. I've watched other shows that have maybe dropped anime. Like I've watched Shattered Angels, which I thought was a horrible show too. I dropped that not midway through. I think I got 5 episodes into it, but because this was recommended to me by my best friend and because it was kind of a joke that I'd watch it because I've always heard good things about Maid-sama. And what's funny is I've never seen it. I really didn't know anything about it, so I didn't go into this with super hype it's always I've heard good things about it though. So I thought, hey, it should be good. I've never heard about it beyond the kind of premise of her being a maid, but I didn't know any of the story or what I was looking at. So I watched it, with an open heart and open mind, like I always do with reviews, because I never try to go into a show with hate or utter like or hype or anything like that. I try to go into a show as clean cut as I can. I go watch it and either I enjoy it or don't. It's not because of anyone saying, "Oh, this is the best anime ever," because already I'll tell you guys with one of my reviews that's coming out probably on, I want to say maybe actually maybe it came out before this. Probably did come out before this, but on that video, that show was actually very popular, and I really don't have very good feelings about it right now. Just to show you, so I mean, just because it's hype doesn't mean I'm gonna like it instantaneously. It means that I'm just gonna see it as anything else. Because like even with movies that have been I hated, I actually like a lot of movies that are hated. Not all of them, mind you. Sometimes I'm full agreement with people, but I'm not so cold and quick to just say, "Oh, this movie sucks because everyone else says it sucks," or "This movie's great because everyone else is great." It's just how it is. So yeah, that's my little warning to you guys. I'm gonna have on the screen probably warning right now saying, "Be prepared for rant." Just be prepared for it. Now, Maid-sama, the basic story. I'm gonna keep this very simple so you guys can understand it because it's a lot of spoilers if I go too far into it. Maid-sama has our main character Mizaki. She's actually in a school where it used to be all boys, but what they did was one of the years that she transferred in, they made it where it was girls and boys. But the girls have a lower number, of course, than the guys, because I mean, if it's an all guys school originally, even if you do have some transfers in that are girls, it's still gonna be predominantly males. So what Mizaki does is she actually volunteers to become the class president of the whole school, and she's the school representative, the school president. And what she does is she wants to make a environment that's perfect for girls, and to kind of remove the, as she says it, male factor into the school. Like she wants to get rid of a lot of that because she hates guys in the initial onset of the show. And it's not that she has any like emotional feelings for girls. She just hates guys the way they act 90% of the time. Especially one guy she runs into called Usui, who's going to be the main male protagonist of the show. She hates him because he is a big flirt with all these girls. All these girls get dumped by him all the time. He's known for being this guy who's like, oh, everyone likes me, thus I reject every girl that makes advances on me. Now, in her separate time though, when she's away from school, Mizaki comes from a very poor family. Her family is very, 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 very poor. One of the jokes at the very early onset of the show is that her house is falling apart, that she falls into like holes into the actual ground of her floor and the tatami mats, and thus she really doesn't have money, so she works as a part timer in a maid cafe. But she doesn't let anyone else know that because what image she's trying to hold is she's trying to hold this tough girl, I could do everything image. But when you have the polar opposite, which is a maid, which is supposed to be subservient, she gets rid of that. She wants to go, you get rid of that image. So she wants to keep that image by keeping her secret that she's a maid cafe employee. Unfortunately, one night Usui is walking by and sees her dressed in her full maid attire and realizes, oh, that's where you work during the day. And her secret is instantly shattered by him. Not that he goes around spreading it, but now he knows what she is. And all he asks though is one request: that she become his personal maid. Not in the way of outside of the school or outside of her job, but more so in the actual cafe. So from then on, he keeps showing up, and you can tell right away that's going to be a romantic concept with these two characters because that's what it's going off of. Now, if that sounded interesting to you, then I give you credit because that was actually probably the best part, and that's understandable to me because that's what actually hooked me into the show. Was I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, oh, that's cute. That's interesting way of doing a romance anime because this is what this is. This is a romance anime fully, and like you all know, that's one of my favorite genres. I'm not super duper hyped all the time about romance anime because sometimes romance anime can be done horrible. The Shattered Angels, which I just talked about 10 seconds ago. But yeah, I do love romance anime, so I was happy about this, and I was thinking, oh, this looks really good. This should shape up to be a good 26 episode show with no issue. Lo and behold, this show was anything but good. I have so much hate. One of the running jokes with my friend to give you some background with this is that I started this several weeks ago. I started this review, watching the show, of course. I started that, and then by I think maybe episode 10, I was feeling this emotion of I want to drop this so bad. I really want to stop watching this. But he's like, no, you have to hang in there, man. I told you should watch it. I told you, review it and all that. And almost, I want to say this is a fan request review. I almost want to say that. But I won't say that because it's still something that I was planning to review myself anyway, so I'm not going to do that. But, Sean, if you're watching this, which you probably are, I'll tell you, man, this is your fault that I had to watch this. I know you know that this is why this show I hate. You know that because I've been constantly texting him nonstop about how much I hate the show. But I'll tell you guys right now, there was a point when I was watching the show midway through that I would start doing other things while watching it. Like I'd be watching it, but I'd also be making breakfast, or I'd be watching it and just relaxing on my couch and just not watching anything else. But I'd be watching the screen for it. I'd be doing something else. I'd be like reading. I was actually reading a book alongside watching the show because I just could not focus on the show. I didn't want to. Every episode is the same thing. Usui being the tough guy he is and the kind of cool character he is, saves Mizaki from some situation. They get close to one another for a brief second, but then instantly, she says she hates him or she dislikes him again, and then moves on. Every episode does not change. You add these little elements here and there of things like an incident where another school gets involved with her and they want her and they want to make fun of her because she's a maid, they find out. And, he has to save her there. They get to have that incident. They have another incident where someone is able to hypnotize people and she gets hypnotized into hating Usui if she goes to sleep after 24 hours. That's a later episode, but it's every episode is almost like a sitcom. This was watching a sitcom to me. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate sitcoms. I've watched plenty of sitcoms in my time period. I've watched stuff from way back when, the 80s, 70s of sitcoms to stuff that nowadays comes out. But this anime to me as a sitcom is always a mixed bag. I think a lot of times when the anime is a sitcom based kind of show, it just seems kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say very good story plot wise. I think more so it's more very loose in the story, the way it presents itself. It doesn't do what a regular show should do, where it focuses on every episode and kind of builds off a story from there. And Maid-sama, it kind of breaks it apart, where it's like every episode is a continuation, but it's not like if you missed an episode you would be so lost into figuring out what happened. That's a sitcom syndrome. Like anytime a sitcom does that, I consider the sitcom syndrome, which is if you miss 10 episodes of it, you can go into episode 12 or 13 and be completely on. You understand what's going on. You might not see a character you understand fully, but they'll explain him at one point or another so you understand who he was at least. You know what I mean? That in anime is very bad. I think it's a very weird thing to do in anime in general. I think when it works in certain shows, it works in just pure comedy shows. In a romance story where the main character is supposed to get with the main girl or at least show semblance of a romance, I think it doesn't work as much because it's always going to be, oh, here it goes, they broke, they're not really together again because something happened. I'll tell you guys, like the hate half of the show is outrageous. I'm already 9 minutes in. I didn't think this review would be that long, but it is. Let me get on to why I hate this show, though. I'll tell you right now, I hate Usu as the main character. I really do. He is this cool and calm character whose background story, like they one of the big running jokes of the show is his background is unknown to everyone. And by the end of the show, his background will still remain unknown to everyone. You will not understand who he comes from, what family comes from, nothing of that. You will never understand that unless you go further into like the mangas or the light novels, which I'm not going to do. But you'll never understand fully what his background story is. Now, that's not much of an issue per se, but it's also an issue that, let me tell you right now, okay? If Usui did what he did to Muzaki in real life, if this was the real life version of this story, Uzuki would actually be arrested and probably have millions of restraining orders on him. He would not be around Mizaki within a 700 feet distance, okay? To me, going around hugging girls and going around, basically just shoving them into your arms into a brace, it's not a good pickup line. It is not a line that's going to be like, oh, that's so cute. Haha, that's no, it's going to seem as a way of being creepy. I have never gone up to a girl and just straight up, if I like to hug her, bring her into a brace. It looks creepy. It is creepy. You can't do that. You cannot do that. It doesn't work. It makes no sense. And yet this show is based on that concept nonstop. He does that every episode. That he grabs her, he pulls her to the side, he starts playing around with her. Dude, that is weird. It's not romantic. It's weird. I don't know why people love this romance so much. This show is bad. It's bad. It doesn't make sense. Like Mizaki hates him. You know what? I'm gonna spoil the last episode. I'm gonna put warning right now. Spoiler alert, and big warning symbols. Okay. I'm spoiling the end of this show. I've never done this on a review, but I'm doing it right now to save people time. By the end of this show, again, this is spoiler, so I'm letting you guys go skip ahead. I'll tell you guys in the actual highlight of the narration, the text box that shows up, when to skip ahead, so this way you don't get spoiled by anything. But by the actual end of the show, these two kiss each other, which is very obvious they're going to do that. He pronounces his love for her. You know what her response is? She hates him. And they're holding hands together. The end. Yep. Take that in for a second. Okay, it's okay now to if you're just coming back, if you skipped ahead, don't worry, it's all good now. But I'm being honest with you. If I had a review Maid-sama A through F, it gets an F. I was actually, what I always do for reviews is I always let myself rewind. I let myself take a breath. I took a nap before reviewing this because I didn't want to review this straight off of watching because I hated this show so much. And I felt, let me let it sink in first. Let me let the bad feelings kind of wash away, and let me look and see if the positives. There must be positives about this show, right? Maybe the animation. No, the animation is not that good. Even for the old days, it's not that good. Okay, maybe the jokes. There weren't very many jokes in the show to keep it on a good factor. Really was not. The voice acting. Voice acting was very good from both main characters. I love David Matranga and Monica Rial. I think they're great voice actors in general. They were fine. Everyone else was very low tier. There's a few peppered in that are famous voice actors now, but you could tell they weren't famous back then. They have lower roles and stuff. They were not that great. Everything about the show, animation, story, plot, characters, voice acting, music is all really bad. I'm gonna end this review because I don't want to keep going on anymore, guys. I hope this review didn't get you pissed off or worked up. I really do. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Maybe you enjoyed me ranting about it because I think it was kind of fun to hear me rant about something. It doesn't happen all the time. I watch a lot of anime. I don't usually rant for almost 14 minutes about how much I dislike a show. It does happen once in a while, but it doesn't happen as very often. Anyways, guys, please, if you did like the video, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out. Share the video with other people. And as always, until I pass crossing in the next review, I don't know why, by the way, I just pointed. Like, I just did an anime point where I pointed my hand out. Why? That's terrible. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.